A lot of people ask in the comment sections, should they get into reselling, or there's a lot of people who say reselling isn't feasible in the current economy.
Who are you to tell me how to live life? In these times it feels like nobody's right. Yeah, so
Welcome back, everyone. Another week passes, which means we have another Sunday of going over the top 10 weekly sales. This week was a busy week. It's actually a tie for the most items sold in a week. After two slowdown weeks, it's nice to be back up to a high item week. Gonna go over everything. I've had a busy week, and we have a busy week coming up. This week coming up, I am actually going to a concert. A friend of mine flew in, and me, her, and my brother are going to see Creed in Green Bay. I'm pretty excited about that. But that means for the show, I'm putting my store into vacation mode for the first time, so we're going to see how that goes. I'm hoping to make this a quick show because I have a lot of stuff to do, trying to make sure the store's all caught up and ready for vacation mode. On top of my lawnmower broke last week. I've been waiting for the parts to come in. They still haven't come in, but I got to do the prep work to make sure everything's ready to go. On top of, I have to get my Sunday listings done for the day. And I have to finish all my college work for the coming week so I can go on this vacation. So let's jump right into the show and try to knock this out as quickly as possible. This week's return on investment is a 512% with a net profit margin of 51%, which makes me really happy to see that number over 50. The gross income for the week was 533. The net income was 284. I know that I've seen comments in the past that you can't live off these numbers, you can't live off these margins. When I first started, my margins were a lot lower as I was learning and getting into it. I knew I had to raise them and elevate them to get them there. But I just want to talk about my life real quick and to help you in your decision and resale journey. I'm at a point in my life right now where this isn't my only income stream. However, it is the income stream that takes up most of my time. I have set myself up in life to where everything's pretty much covered except for gas, groceries, everything else is covered. So all my bills are paid for with other income streams, and I've essentially done my budget since I lost my job a couple months back, and all I need to make in net profit, net income, is roughly $64 a week, give or take, obviously. But if I'm over that $64 mark, I'm doing just fine. So $284 a week is fantastic for me. This week was a pretty steady week all around, averaging about 2 to 3 sales, seeing a spike a few days out of the week, but listing consistently, answering customer questions, sending offers. I mean, doing all the things you need to do to make your eBay business successful has shown for a steady week. Had a little bit of a dip on Wednesday, but still made sales and didn't get skunked any day of the week, which is always important to me. Busiest day this week was Thursday with $159 in sales, $96 net income from the day. Top 10 sources by return on investment. A little mom and pop shop called Pam's Pickens wins that this week. I did get a lot of good merchandise from there. It's a shop she works for estate sales, like runs estate sales. And part of her payment is when the estate sale is over, she gets to keep whatever's left over. And then she has a storefront in a small town here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan where she sells. And it's filled with a lot of treasures. And she's willing to deal and negotiate, so you can get a lot of good stuff for a good price. And then a mixture of all St. Vinny's and Goodwills in my area. Listing by source this week, the big winner is St. Vinny's. And then Goodwill's taking number 2, and then a various of all the others from there on out. Active listings by price. Now, this week, we see an increase in the under $20 value. There's a lot of items that are listed at $19.98, which of course will fall into that category. But listing got severely increased this week, on top of I'm trying to prep for next week, getting my scheduled bank up so I can still have stuff that comes out and releases every day while my store's in vacation mode. And another thing is, anything that I did put in for over $20, a lot of it sold pretty quickly this week, so it won't be on the active listing by price. New listings this week, I accomplished my goal of wanting to maintain at least 8 a day. And actually I maintained an average of 10 a day. And we achieved a tie for the most sales in 1 week at 19 sales. Average time to sell an item in my store was 15 days. And the total I spent on cost of goods this week was $163. Before we jump into the top 10 today, I just wanted to talk about a few products that are outside of the top 10. As we discussed last Sunday, I did get my 100th sale, and it was this Under Armour Heat Gear Polo Men's 2XL. And the only reason I wanted to talk about this is this should have been in the top 10, but I made a mistake when listing this. And for all those who are on team don't promote items, you get a big win out of me this week, because when I went through this one and I turned promotions on, I forgot to change it to 2% and it left in the recommended. So I had to pay a huge ad fee of $3.80 on this one, which really cut into the profits and excluded it from being in my top 10. So if you're on team don't promote items, here's a win for you. You get to laugh at my mistake. Second item outside of the top 10 I want to talk about today was this VCR remote control. And the only reason I wanted to bring it up is I got a buyer's note when this was purchased that I thought was really funny, and I wanted to share it with you guys. The person who bought this remote sent me a message when they purchased it, and they said, "Hey, I'd really appreciate it if this could be shipped as quickly as possible. My daughter has a school project, and she's going to watch a lot of my old NASA tapes, and I don't want her to have to get up and down to hit pause and play on the VCR," which I thought was really funny. And I appreciated the fact that he reached out to me, so I went ahead, packaged it literally 5 minutes after he purchased it and sent me the note. And I told him I'm hand delivering it to our local distribution center, which was 30 miles away. It's 30 miles away from my house, but it normally takes 2 days just to get from my house in the mail to the distribution center. And then from there, if the person is anywhere local in the Midwest, it usually takes another 2 days to get to them. So I went ahead and hand delivered this to the distribution center that day to cut off 2 days. This person's in Lower Michigan, and that also played another big part of it. When a Michigander buys something, it's like I got to look out for the home team. So I dropped this off at the distribution center, so he should get it pretty quickly for his daughter's project. All right, let's get into the top 10. Number 10 is this Polo Ralph Lauren Performance Golf Shirt. Picked this up at a Goodwill for $3.09. It's sold on eBay for $23.75. That's $17 for the shirt, $6.75 for the shipping. Had this listed at $19.98, took a best offer of $17 after being listed for 4 days. Had a fixed final value fee of 40 cents, a final value fee of $2.93. This did sell on an ad, so I owed eBay 48 cents. Cost to ship was $4.43. The net return on this was $12.42. Good enough for a 402% ROI and a net profit margin of 52%. Number 9 sale of the week was this new with tags Wrangler Rita button-up shirt 2XL. Picked this up at a Goodwill for $3.09. Sold on eBay for $25.05. That's $19 for the shirt, $6.05 for the shipping. Had a fixed final value fee of 40 cents, a final value fee of $3.30, an ad fee of 53 cents. Cost to ship was $4.55. The net return on this product was $13.18. Good enough for a 427% return on investment and a net profit margin of 53%. Number 8 sale of the week is this Peter Millar Southern Comfort Polo Shirt, youth size large, which is a men's small. Picked this up at a Goodwill for $3.09. Sold on eBay for $25.98, $19.98 for the shirt, $6 for the shipping. Fixed final value fee of 40 cents, final value fee of $3.50. The cost to ship this item was $4.47. The net return on this is $14.52, which is good enough for a 470% return on investment and a net profit margin of 56%. Number 7 sale of the week is this Woo the Mountains Performance Hat. Now I picked this hat up at a St. Vincent de Paul's for $3.09, and it still had the original tags on it. I never heard of Woo before, and then when researching this hat, I don't know what it is, but this hat is going for like $60. Like it's listed as $60 everywhere, not just eBay, everywhere. And I couldn't understand it, but when you do the sold information, none of them are selling. Not one is sold in the last 90 days. I had to go back like 9 months to find one that sold, and the one that did sell sold for $28. So I'm really confused as to why this hat is being listed as $65 everywhere on the internet, but they're not selling it anywhere. So I listed it for $24.98, and it ended up selling on eBay after 15 days for $27.18. I ran a sale during the week and did a percentage off, and it sold during the sale for $21.23, $5.95 shipping. It had a fixed final value fee of 40 cents, a final value fee of $3.36. It did sell on an ad, so I owed eBay 54 cents. The cost to ship was $5.15, which was good enough for a $14.64 net return, which is a 474% return on investment and a 54% profit margin. The number 6 sale of the week is these Tommy Hilfiger wedge sandals. Picked these up at my local St. Vincent's for $3.09. They sold on eBay for $34.83, which was $21.23 for the sandals and $13.16 for the shipping. Had a fixed final value fee of 40 cents, a final value fee of $4.52. They did sell on an ad, so I owed eBay 73 cents. The cost to ship was $9.02, good enough for a $17.07 net return, which is a 552% return on investment and a net profit margin of 49%. The number 5 sale of the week is these Polo Ralph Lauren cotton pants. Picked these up for $3.42 at a Goodwill. They sold on eBay for $33.60. That's $22 for the pants, $11.60 for the shipping. They had a fixed final value fee of 40 cents, a final value fee of $4.15. The cost to ship was $7.17, which was good enough for an $18.46 net return and a 540% return on investment with a 55% net profit margin. The number 4 sale of the week are these cool hiking shorts. I picked these up for $3.42 at a Goodwill. They sold on eBay for $31.08. That's $22.48 for the shorts, $8.60 for the shipping. They had a final value fee of $3.99. The cost to ship was $3.59, which is a net return of $20.08, which is good enough for a 587% return on investment and a net profit margin of 65%. And I'm just noticing that this doesn't have a fixed final value fee of 40%. And I kind of want to do some digging into this product because this sold, a person purchased 2 items from me at the same time, did combine shipping. So I'm curious to know why it didn't do a fixed final value fee. Maybe when somebody does combine shipping, they don't do a fixed final value fee, which is interesting to learn. I'll have to look into that and I'll report back to you guys next week. Number 3 sale of the week is these Dockers khakis pants, no wrinkle linen. I picked these up at a Goodwill for $3.42. They were new old stock with tag on them, and it was literally a JCPenney tag. So these were an old pair of pants, but they were in perfect condition. And I knew that they were going to sell relatively quickly because they're linen, and it has been ridiculously hot up here, at least in our region of America. And I know linen's going to sell pretty quickly. So these sold on eBay after 2 days of being listed for $37.08. That's $25.48 for the pants, $11.60 for the shipping. Had a fixed final value fee of 40 cents with a final value fee of $4.58. These did sell on an ad, so I owed eBay 74 cents. Cost to ship was $6.62, which was good enough for a $21.32 net return, which is a 623% return on investment and a 57% net profit margin. Number 2 sale of the week is this Orion VCR. Picked this up for $3.42 at a St. Vincent de Paul's. Now, it actually cost $5, but as you guys know, I do the average of a sourcing day. So I just, when I do a whole day of sourcing and I go to a bunch of stores, I just take the totals from all the stores and I divide it by the total inventory I got, and I assign a cost of goods that way, because it's so much easier that way than breaking everything down individually, just assigning one cost of goods. I actually paid $5 for this, but The cost of goods price that's assigned to it is $3.42. It all evens out in time. I love selling vintage electronics. This is like my favorite category to sell in, specifically VCRs, cassette decks, and CD players. I really enjoy it because it's obviously something I know really well. And I knew when I picked this up last week that this was going to sell relatively quickly. It sold on eBay for $54.98. That's $39.98 for the VCR, plus a $15 flat rate shipping fee. The fixed final value fee was 40 cents. The final value fee was $5.47. The cost to ship was actually $14.45. The net return is $31.24, which is good enough for a 913% return on investment and a 57% net profit margin. Now, we discussed last week how with the new changes of pricing, I was going to be moving to the flat rate shipping fee. Here's a good example. I did the math and the calculations of what it was going to cost me to ship this item, averaged it all out, and I came up with, for this particular item, with how much it weighed, for the box I was going to have to put it in because of the size dimensions. I figured $15 would be the fairest, and when this sold and I went to ship it, that $15 covered the $14.45. I got really close to nailing it right on the head. So I think flat rate shipping is where I'm going in the future. Now, if you're just getting into this, don't start off trying to do flat rate shipping. If you're just starting off in online sales, do calculated for the first 100 items, because as you're doing the calculated shipping and you're measuring everything out, you're going to learn the prices for USPS, UPS, and FedEx. You're going to learn what size and shapes and which ones to go with the best, so that eventually when you do evolve to different shipping methods, you'll know how to price them based on the experiences you've had. And you're not always going to make money on shipping. There's going to be times where you lose money on shipping. That's okay. Learn from it, adjust, and move on. So here's a prime example where flat rate shipping came out to be right on the head. And the number one sale of the week is this Chaz Lowenson New York vintage brass microscope thread counter. A month ago, when I was doing a sourcing trip and I went to that small mom and pop's store I was telling you about, the lady who works for the estate sale, Pam's Pickens, I saw this item in there, and I thought this was really cool when I saw it. It's a small little brass microscope, and it's designed for the textile industry. Under the microscope, there's a pointer with a microscopic ruler pointing at a microscopic ruler. And these are used to go through the textiles and actually count the individual threads in a pattern. And when I saw it a month ago, I thought it was super neat. But she had it extremely overpriced in her store, and as much as I liked it, I couldn't bring myself to pay what she was asking. And when I was there that day, I did purchase a DVD VCR combo, which I still haven't listed yet. I need to get that listed. And when I purchased that DVD VCR combo, I asked her if she was willing to negotiate on the price of that, which she did. And I was like, okay, now I know she negotiates. This is good for next time I come. Well, when I went to her store this last time, as I was walking in, I was met with a big sign that said 75% off everything over $10. And I was like, okay, we can make some deals today. And then we got talking about this because she said I was the only customer who ever showed interest in it. And I told her, I said, you know, I've been thinking about this for the last month since I was here last. And I said, I really like this. I don't know why I like this item, but I do. And I said, if it's still there, I was going to try to negotiate with you. And she was like, you know, I thought about how you were the only one interested in it. And me and her started talking, and we came to a deal, and I got this for more than 75% off of her original asking price, and she was willing to part ways with it. It got assigned a cost of goods of $3.42. It sold on eBay for $60.35, which is $55 for the thread counter and $5.35 for the shipping. It had a fixed final value fee of 40 cents, a final value fee of $8.05. It sold on an ad sold eBay $1.30. The cost to ship was $6.09. It was good enough for a $41.09 net return, which is a 1,201% return on investment and a net profit margin of 68%. Now, these were selling on eBay. There's a lot. These sell quite a bit on eBay. A lot of them were selling in the upwards of the $75 range, but they had the box and the instructions to go with it. And Pam, when I bought this at Pam's Pickens, she told me there was a box for it, but she owns an antique store and she couldn't find the box for it in her back inventory, which is fine. It didn't bother me. I really like the product. So I listed this for $60 without the box, and it ended up selling on a best offer of $55 without the box, which I thought was more than fair. Had I had the box and instructions, I could have eked another $20 out of this sale, but I was more than happy with that. And those were our sales for the week. Other than that, college is going good. I don't have much to talk about. In my 1 week of being a professional YouTuber, I have made $11.04. So again, a personal thank you to everybody who watches this show. Just by watching this show, I made $11.04 this week, which I know it might not sound like a lot to a lot of people, but it's huge to me. When all you need is $64 a week to survive, anything beyond that is thriving. $11.04 added to the revenue stream is huge. So I thank you guys so much for watching these videos. College is going great. Have an A average in all my classes. I've literally gotten an A on every single paper project, quiz, and test I've taken in these first 2 weeks. I'm really been rushing this week trying to catch up and get next week's work done so I can go to this concert without having any worries or headaches of assignments getting turned in or any projects not being done. I've got a lot of stuff to do in the next 2 days, and it just feels like there's not enough time in the day. The rest of the day is going to be spent editing this video and trying to get it live. So this is probably a short video for the sake of just wanting to get it out early so I can get back in and work on cleaning items, listing items, scheduling them for the coming week. But yeah, it's been an exciting week. I love the fact, at least, that I got a sale every day, because it's good for the mental health. It's very good for the mental health when you get at least a sale every day. I think I'd probably prefer 7 straight days of sales than getting like 7 sales in one day and then not getting any sales the rest of the week. That would mess with me mentally. But I really enjoy that I'm getting consistent sales every day. This week, I think I averaged at least 2 sales every day, which is really awesome. A lot of people ask in the comment sections, should they get into reselling? Or there's a lot of people who say reselling isn't feasible in the current economy, which I just want to address those couple things real quick. First off, let's start with the last one first. I think this is the best time to get into reselling, because the whole business of reselling, specifically eBay selling, is buying secondhand at a cheaper price. And when people don't have the money flowing in, or their money is not as valuable as it once was, secondhand becomes a primary better option for them to purchase. And I think this is a great time to get into reselling. And then I always get asked, should I get into reselling? That's completely up to you and your situation. My advice would be, start, if you have a job already, get into it part-time. And then if you want to transition to doing it full-time, make that transition when it seems financially feasible to you. Or if you don't have a job, should you get into it? If you've got nothing else going on, at least list items. You're not going to get the experience and you're not going to learn unless you start doing it. And then I get people who ask me, or make statements about watching other YouTubers in the reselling space. And I'll be the first person to tell you, I watch every single eBay reseller YouTuber there is out there. You name the YouTuber, I've seen them. And people ask me all the time, which one should I watch to be successful at reselling? And again, I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all answer to that. I think depending on the type of personality you have and what your goals are with reselling should depend on who to watch. Actually, my advice is watch everybody. Watch everybody and learn from everybody. Every single eBay YouTuber has something of value to teach you and bring to you. But just like anybody who resells, YouTube resellers have different goals with their stores and their careers. So you need to determine what your personal goals are before you get into this. Like I said, for me, it's literally my goal is to make more than $64 a week. Anything beyond that, I'm living the high life for me. Now, depending on your personality type, the YouTuber you enjoy watching, I like to approach things from a very data analytical mindset, and I also appreciate the business savvy side of it. So for me, like, to say I have favorites, I don't think I have favorites, but obviously Justin Resells is a huge inspiration to my channel. Like, Justin's Resells is the channel that gave me the confidence to get into doing this. So I would say he's probably my favorite to watch. And then I also like J-Ride, because J-Ride approaches this from a very business mindset. For him, it's all about the numbers and the economy, which I respect, because my data and analytical brain can look at what he's doing, transition that, and figure out from the business side, because that's how you keep score. Money is how you keep score and how good you're doing in this field. If you want to be a multi-millionaire and get huge, I mean, obviously, I think you probably like Tech and Sports or Daily Refinement. And I like both Tech and Sports and Daily Refinement. There's a lot to be learned from them, but I don't want a business at that scale. And I mean, Tekken's getting out of the game right now and he's retiring, but Daily Refinement, you know, he wants scale. He wants a lot of flowing in. That's not what my goal is. I don't know if I'd ever hire employees, but right now that's not on the list of things I want to do. But then there's a ton of smaller YouTubers in the eBay space that I think bring a lot of value to this community. And just to give you an example, 9TNS, I think she is one of the best thrift with me small YouTube channels there are, and I highly recommend everybody going and checking her out. I mean, there's nothing more better than watching her walk down the aisles of a Goodwill humming and seeing the stuff she picks up. It's stuff that I never would pick up or would never see or find value in, and I would think, who would buy that? And watching her channel made me realize, okay, maybe I need to start learning statues and art and things like that, because this is a lot of stuff I pass up and I personally don't see the value in. I'd say watch everybody, learn from everybody. Everybody has something of value to give to you in this niche of eBay reselling. If you want to get into clothes, there are a lot of great clothing sellers. Carrie at Home, who specializes in jeans, she's also doing her special of starting a shirt store from scratch. That is highly valuable if you're considering getting into clothes. Watch everyone. I think that's all I got for this week. So I'm going to go ahead and hit stop on this so I can get in and spend the next couple hours editing so I can get this up live as quickly as possible so I can get back in the garage and start doing some of the work I have to do to make sure I can go on vacation this week. Look forward to seeing you guys next week. I hope everybody had a great week. I hope everybody has a great week to come, and I will see you next Sunday.